Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Quantum Show, Quantum Panel, Quantum Review. And it started out spun up. Let me tell you, it was a good first hour. I can kind of call it a soliloquy, can't I? It's all right. Pretty good first hour. And let me see here. I might show some things on screen because just related things, now that I can share screen effectively, for at least stills, haven't figured out video to match with audio. No big deal. I don't really want to cover other people's videos too much other than in reference. Hey, Crafting Gamer, Jeanette, Neats B, been waiting for the show to start. And I know Samo's around here somewhere. You get a shout out anyway, Samo. Thank you, Jeanette. I appreciate that. I had a good time going over those topics. Having a little list really helped me stay on topic. Even when I drifted, I was able to go, how does this relate to the topic at hand? And I went to it. Plus, this coffee helps. Jacobs, you know what? I'll bring that up. Let me see about bringing that up. Show you what I'm drinking tonight, what me and Amy are drinking tonight. That tastes so much like disclosure. Who we got coming in the door here? Let's see. Hello, Lynn.
Hi, how you doing?
Pretty good. I saw you in the chat of the first hour. I figure you had a good time because you stayed the whole time.
I usually stay the whole time. I just don't always talk.
Right. Okay. Well, it was. I was quite animated,
No,
and I was having
it was a good show. Very good
I
show.
think. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to think I did good. Derek saying he's got some good news. Good deal, Derek. Good news is always good to know. Whatever it is, I'm glad it's good for you, Derek. Welcome to the show, Derek. Welcome to the chat room. So, yeah, I was just going to bring up the picture of my coffee just because it's kind of related because it's like, whew, it's got me all spun up. And I was going to try to do this since I know how to kind of do this. Maybe I'm not going to. I'm looking for it.
we make plans, God laughs.
Yep. I actually downloaded it and got it ready and everything, and it's not here. So, oh well. That's okay. Wait a minute. I think I've saved it in a different place. Yep, I saved it in a different place. Nope, it's not there either. Uh, I swear I'm organized. There it is. Let me bring it up here. I said I was going to bring it up here. Yeah. Just try to bring it up here. It's just coffee, y'all. But it's good stuff.
Yeah, I talked to Joe for a little bit just a minute
Oh,
ago.
how's he doing?
He sounds better. He's out rambling around, so he's not at home to to do this.
Right.
Wouldn't have known about it.
Well, he is always welcome. There we go. Here it
There.
comes. We got other people coming on too.
Oh, good.
Raven has the link. And who else?
Jacob's
Is it? Yeah,
Jacob's
it
Chronic.
is. It's good stuff. The first time I had it I was in Germany, and they brew it differently over there. This is instant, but it only vaguely tastes like instant coffee. It tastes nothing like instant coffee, only vaguely. Just if you didn't know you were drinking instant, you wouldn't know. And yeah, Jacobs, I went to an international store and got this stuff. I was like, oh man, that's from Germany. Well, it's not from Germany, it's from Sweden.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Swedish.
And I think this one was, I think I saw Sweden, Netherlands on the back of it.
Oh, okay.
And
That's a good. That's a good tip off.
yeah, they send it everywhere. I mean, I just found it in Germany and Tennessee. And yeah, I went over the submarine, the Schumann resonance, Avi Loeb, and his over eagerness of something on the floor being not from Earth, and went touched on the Las Vegas incident a little bit. And yeah, more on Avi Loeb. Someone brought in the chat behind the scenes said, could underwater welding produce those things? Yes, yes, it could. Yes, it could produce that because it's the same effect. The metal turns to slag and it goes through the water at the most aerodynamic shape, and which is a sphere. That's the shot tower hypothesis. And
Mm.
I would love if someone actually did forward that part of the video on to Avi Loeb because I know he doesn't listen to this show. I'm small potatoes to him. I don't have anything to do with the Ivy School professor guy. Only that I watch him on TV. Oh.
Yeah. Our access to such notables is on the limited side.
Yeah. We see what they want us to see.
Yeah.
And oh, you heard my ranting about the sub and the people on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What were their investments? Why would they have reason to disappear? Who were they in not competing with, but investing against? What's that all about? You know?
Were they murdered?
Right. Were they
You
taken
know.
out? Or were they just taken? Because that's also we're in the woo. It's also a possibility. They could have been yoinked from that sub and just we'll never see them again.
No.
But
That
I
I'll
can't
tell you, the
say
only thing they found from the Titanic, as far as people go, are their shoes.
right.
You
They were
know,
wearing shoes on that thing.
they may find shoes, but that will be the length and breadth of it if they
Yeah.
imploded.
Things like wristwatches, things made of metal. They'll find
Yeah.
things made of metal. Where is that stuff? I know we just found the stuff, what, 2 days ago now. I need more information. We all need more information. And
They're not going
since,
to give us information.
nope, nope. Because I think because of who was involved, elites were involved. And
Well, why were they taking this? This was some sort of jaunt for them. Um, Most people don't understand that these guys have got something stuck. There it goes. It hurt. Anyway, most guys don't understand that these guys' time by the minute is worth thousands, thousands of dollars per minute.
yeah,
And when they go on expedition, yes, it's for their curiosity, yes, it's for their entertainment, relaxation, blah, 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 yak, yak, yak. But this didn't feel like a joyride to me. Did it to you?
mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. Not at all.
I I I don't know. You know, these the the enthusiasm we were talking about before, the contagion of that. There has
Mm-hmm.
been all sorts of enthusiasm about going into space, in spite of the fact that a number of these experiments have gone seriously wrong. I know that
Mm-hmm.
they have because I live less than 40 miles
From the
from
pad.
from from Virgin Galactic.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that part of the sky from my front porch. I live
Mm-hmm.
less than 40 miles from NASA, White Sands, Holloman Air Force Base. You
Mm-hmm.
name it, they're here.
Yep,
You
they
know,
are there.
these these uh, these guys don't do uh, spontaneous vacations. They don't.
Right. They
They
plan. They
they
plan these
plan
things.
everything down to the last minute, and God help you if you delay them.
Yeah,
You
then
know,
they will make your life a living hell for at least a little while if you delay
yeah,
them.
yeah. No, you
Because
don't delay them.
how dare you inconvenience me? Let's
Yes,
just I don't know, pull your driver's license and suspend it for a little while, or your driver's license, or whatever it is at the time.
let's
And
see if we
Cindy's
can
down there.
inconvenience you.
Hmm.
Yeah,
and
and they
and it's
will.
nothing to them. It's
No,
nothing. It's nothing. We're nothing to them.
person they're talking to is nothing to them.
Yeah. Um. Let me clearing up my connection a little bit. Okay. But Cindy is saying, meaning her friend from the past comment. Her friend was interviewed on a news channel. The delay action to get down there was paperwork. He said government BS. Yeah.
There wasn't
Who's going to
any delay.
permit
I
them?
assure you, there wasn't.
Well, I can see it. I
That
can
was
see it.
that was a submersible, was it not?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, they knew the minute that communication went down that something bad happened. That moment
Yeah.
they knew. They knew it up top. That's not a submarine. It's not self contained. It is
Not for
a
any length of time.
submersible.
Right. It's
That means it
hours
came
long.
from a huge ship.
Right. And it was the underwater time is hours long,
Yes.
not days.
No.
Submarine, you get days.
No.
Submersible, you get
Nothing.
hours.
But my point is, they hauled balls getting to that site when 700 people went down with the ship in Greece.
Hmm. Oh,
Which
you
just
heard
goes
that
to
reference.
show you who's important and who's not, who can
Yeah.
contribute and who cannot.
I didn't hear, you know what? I'd hardly heard anything about that ship from Greece.
No, I've read
Hardly a
several
word.
things about it. Uh, Mothers were trying desperately to get to their children. It
Mm.
was a bad situation. And only 104 out of some 750
Hmm.
people were
104, a fraction.
were were saved from this terrible catastrophe.
Hmm.
That's literally half of how many people went down on the Titanic. Half
Hmm.
of them. That's tremendous number of people going down.
Yep.
Between the Lusitania and the Titanic, uh, those two catastrophes by themselves, you know, are the worst maritime catastrophes.
Hmm.
You come up to something like that, my God, they were overloaded. You
Yeah.
know,
Very much so.
you know,
And
and it is very likely that these are a few things that happen together unnaturally. We're accidents, if you will. Uh,
mhm,
we can, we will not get the full story, not ever.
mhm.
It takes them decades to completely investigate one of these occurrences.
Yeah. And then when they find out something, they have to say it to their liking.
Hmm.
It runs alongside with history is written by the victors. Well,
Oh
history is
yeah,
written by the people with the best interest,
that's
with
right.
the most vested interest.
Well, I find it appalling and despicable that one of the individuals involved in this mess and who lost his life on account of it was was gloating that there were no standards. This was first. How
Well,
terribly arrogant of you.
yeah, yeah, that I heard about that one. I didn't see
That
what he said.
arrogant. My God.
I didn't see it, but I heard about it. Um, yeah, and this is I don't know, Josh Gates, he may have just dodged a bullet, right? Said he was there for a test run and he dodged a bullet. But the thing is, when did I don't remember when that test run happened. I know it happened, but I don't remember when it happened. And
They've been doing this for some time.
right, and when they say experimental parts and materials in this regard, not
They're
they
not
were not.
telling you anything.
No, that means, I mean, okay, uh, when someone says they're using a new material in this way, I mean, when somebody says it's it it's been used in other applications, just not this one. So that makes it experimental as kind of like a general category, not it was an unknown material that we found on a crashed comet. No, it wasn't none of that. It was like we're using this particular blend of carbon fiber this time, though it's been used in aerospace and housing and fire prevention for so long. It's just never been used like this. We're figuring out
Uh,
how it works like this, in this configuration, in this application. So any of those things, I don't know. It's kind of it's a little bit buzzwordy when they say experimental. Uh, well, where does this material come from? I don't need to know that, right? We don't need to know that, but just keep that in mind, listeners, right? That when they say experimental and a vehicle, this time in this application, in this context, not unknown material, super rubber fun ball, from outer space.
no, this
Do
is
not
lemon in
expose.
your coffee instead of water. Let's see
Yeah,
what
that's
happens.
that that's experimental. I'm experimenting. I'm
Yeah,
experimenting with Danish coffee.
yeah, there you go. But
I've got
you know,
experimental.
it just anytime these guys want to get away with murder, and I think that they're going on in this case too, um, or manslaughter or neglect, you know, was it um, it's homicide of some sort. Anyhow,
Yeah.
the anytime they do that, they bring up all these catchphrases. Oh, they signed off on it. Listen, if I've got the captain of the vehicle telling me everything's just hunky and dory, and he's going along just to prove it to me. Interesting, isn't it?
Hmm.
Uh, who are you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes?
Hmm.
Apparently, that one billionaire said, "I think I like to stay on dry ground. I see these things they're touting, and man, I don't believe for a second any of that's straight up."
No.
And but if they were down there, they were down there snooping around for something. They were after something.
Yeah. That is suspiciously close to the hot zone.
You know,
Not
well,
too close, but close enough.
and
And
it's not just that. I mean, let's set aside the Atlantis idea for a moment and just say, listen, here we are. The Titanic was loaded for bear with wealth. It was, and it
mhm,
hasn't been carried off. Some of it may have been, but I can see in my mind's eye that little tiny speck of greed going just that little bit too deep.
yeah.
And that's all it took. aircraft, and I had pointed this out in the other show, and I don't think you actually saw it, but aircraft has a certain number of hours it's allowed to fly because metal
Right.
metal gets tired, metal gets soft,
Fatigues. It
metal fatigue.
fatigues.
That's it. It works the same way for boats. There are
Mm-hmm.
certain parts of metal that have to be replaced on a very regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in deep diving because it gets soft. And if it
Right.
gets soft, it'll get a hole. It'll literally rip itself apart.
Mm-hmm. I can
Where
attest to this
yes, you
because
can.
you have, just like in aircraft, you have the extreme altitude, 30,000 feet, 50,000 feet,
That's right.
etc. You have extreme uh, salt water is corrosive in some circumstances. In, well,
Mhm.
actually, most circumstances, salt, you, the northern states, let's look at cars. Uh, the cars from the northern states have a bunch of rust holes in them because they have to put salt on the road all
Exactly.
the winter time. Fall, winter, spring, salt. Salt erodes metal. Salt
Hmm.
uh, makes it get rust holes. Well, same with this stuff. That's why they were using experimental, but they were using
But
pieces
here
that
they
are
were.
rated for a certain time, certain
How
amount of time. Mm,
how many years have these guys been doing these dives?
right. They know, they
That
knew
same
how to do
equipment.
this.
They
Right.
knew
They
how, but they don't know engineering necessarily.
right. Not
And
necessarily.
it it occurs to me that we just tried to save a little cash on the side here, and
Yep.
maybe didn't do our maintenance in a proper way.
Right. Well, we could save $30,000 from not replacing
Precisely.
that titanium bracket
Hmm.
and
And like your
not.
little joke where the blonde goes to the bank with
Hmm.
your BMW,
Right. five
and
thousand dollar loan.
for a $5,000 loan pays $25 early pay fee on it, minuscule amount of interest, and has
Hmm.
free parking in New York for the week she went on vacation.
Right.
The point
Yeah. It's
is,
a,
the point is to that is that they didn't get rich by being stupid
right. Right.
or
And
or
mhm,
wasteful.
mhm. And
They do
let's see
though.
here.
They do save money, Derek. They go to long lengths to save every
Yeah.
nickel they can.
Yeah. They do. That's why you go to Dollar Tree and Dollar General and you see BMWs, Lexus, and Bentleys parked out there. Why are they shopping at Dollar Tree, Dollar General? To save money.
Yeah.
They, mm, I see all the, I mean,
No, the
exotic
very the
cars.
very wealthy, the very wealthy usually
Yeah.
don't go. They'll send a servant.
They'll, they'll send somebody to go there. But I have
Yes.
gone, usually around here. Oh, you want to see the coolest cars? You go to Dollar Tree and Costco. You will
Hmm.
see all the exotics. I've seen not just those, but Ferraris and what's that thing called? Um,
Lamborghini.
well, Lamborghini. Yeah, there's what is it called? Um, I don't remember, but it's a really exotic car. They're special order only, and they're super fast. Um,
Teslas?
no, no,
No,
not
they're
Tesla.
not fast. Shit.
No.
Shit, no. They're for the
I mean,
commoners. Well, give me a break.
yeah, right. But I saw this one car there. I was like, oh my god! And I saw, oh, just you want to see the best cars? Go to the cheap stores because that's where they go. That's where they shop. If they don't send their servants to go after them around
the
here,
thing that you
huh?
don't realize with these guys most of the time, the ultra rich are not there. They are not going to Target. They're not going to Dollar Tree.
No, they're sending
They're
people.
shopping at Timu. Oh, I
Yeah,
kid you not. Now,
I
first
believe it.
thing, they're all about swag. They're all about what looks like. because what it looks like could sink their battleship real fast.
Hmm.
Maserati is what Derek's trying to tell you.
I see
Um,
Derek's. I see it.
BMW is Lexus, the whole bit.
Yeah,
Rolls.
I can't think of the name of the thing I was talking about. Um, it's it's not common. I mean, it's less common than Maserati or Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Uh,
Maserati is their little Rambler they go out with.
yeah, they're.
But the
But I'm just. Oh, but yeah,
I'll be honest with you that they are very much about what it looks like, because that can think them. That can think them very easily.
yeah.
They're all about what society uh, doings they're going to go to this week, next week,
Hmm.
and 6 weeks down the line. And that's just the beginning of their plans. They plan a
Yeah.
year in advance. I'm not kidding. They
Oh
do.
yeah, long game. They play long game.
Yeah.
They don't
This,
play. What am I going to do tomorrow?
not
They
at
go.
all.
What is going to happen next year?
I'm going to
And
go to this party and be seen by these people, and I'm going to try to
mhm.
make the acquaintance of the queen or whomever is happens to be in the neighborhood.
Yeah, so many people don't realize that is how they think.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
whole
it's all
different.
networking.
It's a different mindset than other people have, and it's just so really alien to me. Not that they're aliens. I'm sure some of them are, but
No,
not all.
I
But
doubt
no,
it.
it's just the alien mindset.
I think the alien mindset looks at wealth and says, "What the hell is going on with that?"
Yeah,
You
man,
know?
they have a lot of clay pots and rice, don't they?
Yeah, really. It is very much a human phenomenon. Greed, avarice, the whole bit.
Oh, here's another take on the submersible. They wanted to do destructive testing, and it was, yeah. The engineer for the submersible wanted to do destructive testing on the experimental hull, and the aircraft engineer billionaire said, now we've got a new experimental sonic detection system. Interesting.
What are we sonic detecting for?
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
And follow up, he says, using experimental technology to test experimental technology. It's a faulty theory to begin with, yes, let alone assuming engineering is one to one applicable with submersible engineering.
They
That is
bragged on it. They
that's an
bragged
assumption they
to
should
see.
not have made.
No, they bragged that there was no specs available for what they were doing. I beg to
Hmm.
differ. There are quite a few specs for things like that.
I agree. Just because the
They
specs
paid it
don't.
off, maybe, but
Hmm.
as far as there not being any, oh please, we've had submersibles for over 50 years,
Yep.
actually
And
closer to 60, and we don't have specs. Oh, who the heck are you trying to kid? We have specs on every damn thing.
yep.
Hi, Raven.
Hey,
Well,
Raven.
hello. Hi. Can you
Is
hear
it?
me okay?
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Good. Good. All right. How is everyone?
Pretty
Terrific.
good. How is the new hardware working out?
The hard drive?
Hardware.
Hard.
The
Oh, you
the
mean yes?
tripod and the headset. Oh, the
I
one
see
you're not using?
See
the one I'm putting together right now. You mean? Yes, it's
Okay.
going on
this? That ain't
marvelously.
the cord.
Did
Well,
it get to you in pieces?
yeah, just a couple.
Oh,
It's okay.
huh?
I think I can figure
Okay.
this out.
Oh,
It's a
yeah,
little,
you can.
All right.
I can figure it out. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Because,
That
I
was an
mean, if I
You're
excellent,
did.
further
excellent.
ahead than I am. An engineer, I am not.
That was an excellent show, Nathan.
Thank you.
Excellent show.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And yeah, you raised a couple good points that I was questions I had in my mind about when I was reading all those different news articles today about the submarine. And
Mhm.
yeah, my first reaction was the same as yours. Yeah, what diversion are they trying to create so that we're not looking at that, instead we're looking at this? But the more I got into it, it's more like, this is there's something stinks about this.
Yeah, in a big way.
In a big way, yeah. And the fact that I think it's the Hamish, I think it's Hamish that is the one that's been to the South Pole. They put it as the South Pole. They didn't even say Antarctica in the news article, which I thought was interesting also. They said he's been to the
Misdirection.
South Pole twice. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because our Antarctica is such a trigger word for everybody.
That kind of solidifies what I said about, this guy's been to Antarctica twice. It
Yeah,
wasn't a jaunt for him to be on this ship. He was there for a reason.
yeah.
Yep.
And he's
I
been in
agree.
space with Bezos. So, and he's done all kinds of things. He's also been to the bottom of the ocean, the Marianas Trench.
Mm-hmm.
So he's, so what does he know? Or what did he, what did they not want him to tell others? Is kind of what I was thinking,
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Who was he not
So,
friends with that he needed to disappear? And
yeah.
disappear he did.
And that text was so creepy when he said that the weather has been bad, but it's okay. We're all cleared to go, or something like that. And then he said, but they've been waiting for this. They've been waiting for this, in reference to the weather being bad. Like,
Right.
I took
You
it as
don't
if,
make
like,
those kind of dives during bad weather. Not up there.
No.
yeah,
No. They
Not
didn't. They
ever.
waited for good weather. They waited for
yeah.
the good weather to come on. I don't remember the text specifically, but yeah, I see
I
what
wrote
you're
it down,
saying.
and I don't have my note out here.
There's a
It
lot
said,
of protocol.
we're all
Hi,
clear to
Bob.
go. We're all clear to go tomorrow. The weather's been something. He had the word good and then bad all in the same sentence. Okay, the weather's been something. We're all cleared to go. It's all good tomorrow, something like that. And then the weather's been bad. They've been waiting for this, as if, and I took it as that, like, somebody's been trying to that he was aware of the fact somebody's trying to off him, basically, and that I don't know, Illuminati, the somebody, the dark state, deep state, the bad guys, whatever, have been waiting for this. Like he
And
knew they were
that
going to
doesn't make
sabotage.
sense either. If somebody's trying to assassinate you, are you really going to do something like this? Or
See, I
was
don't
it?
know. He's
Or
the
was
type
it
of
a
guy.
dupe? Here's a different little slant for you. What about maybe he was a dupe? He was a lookalike.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it
I mean,
concept?
yeah. They could have all faked their deaths,
The
right?
rabbit out of a hat, but I sort of specialize in those.
I'm sure they all had huge life insurance policies. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's another
Aliens
thing.
could have abducted them. I mean, there's all kinds of, from what I hear, alien bases down in the ocean, because it's a perfect hiding place. We can't get to them easily, and they can
Right.
do whatever, pretty much work with immunity down there because nobody's watching.
Yeah,
It's
and
hard
look
to
at
Well,
who
know.
and there
does
you
get to go
go.
down there. Billionaires who already have a vested interest and they don't want
Right.
their fortunes and their interests endangered. So if they come across something
True.
weird, cool, then the weird cool could go, "Oh, well, don't make us mess with your oil, food, energy production.
Yeah.
So you don't tell you play ball with us, we play ball with you." And more likely it's going to be the governments that say
Right.
that. Say, well, this is our secret, not your secret. I've heard
Right.
of things like that.
Oh yeah, they argue among themselves. Of course they do.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting to note is most ultra billionaires, millionaires aren't in government. They're
No.
not.
Oh
They
boy,
don't
they
give
are
two
in.
shakes about the government other than to control them.
Yeah,
They are the little
lobbying.
people for them.
Yeah.
Right.
They're the real
Lobbying.
lawmakers, and they're the ones who
Yeah.
determine the politicians and who
Yes,
really
they
gets
do.
in office and who doesn't. Pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, I mean, look at Bill Gates. I don't want to get. Well, I probably shouldn't say anything.
Go ahead. I brought him up too.
As an unelected official, since when is he in charge of world health? You know, in this
Yeah.
last little episode.
Why does he
just
have
took
any
his spot.
say? I
He
said
So why
it.
does he have any? He's not even a doctor. Why does he have any say at all? Hello. And I
Yeah,
love
I
how
love
the
when
media
he
black
said-
out.
maybe controlling interest in a big pharmaceutical, perhaps.
Oh
No.
yeah.
No, not him. Well, he's just this wonderful
Oh,
little
he just is a good old
philanthropist.
boy.
You know, hey, he's got the humanity's best interest at heart, Lynn Ann. That you would even think those things of Bill Gates. Shame on you. Oh,
Raven. Blah, 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 blah.
I'm so full of sarcasm. I'm just full of shit. You know.
That was my way of saying you're full of shit.
Yeah, I
So,
know.
anyway.
I'm being sarcastic. Being sarcastic.
I'm
Yeah.
teasing
Well-
you. I am going along with it and teasing you.
Okay. Okay. Just as long as you knew I was teasing. Yeah. Anyway. So.
79
Yeah,
Phoenix has come in. Sorry, I just wanted to bring attention to this comment that they said mass fish die-offs. USO travels through a school in the quantum state, quantum, rattles their guts and they see a mass die-off. Perhaps this is what happened to the sub. Possibly. It is not outside of the realm of possibility.
That's true. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up.
It's an interesting concept. I didn't put that together, but you're right. Big pot of whales died recently off the coast of Peru.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's correct.
Yes, I remember hearing about that too.
It's not outside the realm.
No.
Our planet is undergoing quite a lot of change. And climate change is not the biggest one.
No.
The core is changing. The poles are changing.
And it's right on tap with what's happened before when they pulled the ice core samples out from Greenland and monitored this stuff. It's all natural, and it all has to do with the sun, not our SUVs, not our carbon footprint. That is a bunch of malarkey, total malarkey.
Yeah.
And yet they're silencing all of the scientists who, with the exception of Greg Braden, which I find interesting. He must have some good security around him. He's about the only one that's been able to say anything or allude at all about this all being a big money-making scam. Because look, the byproduct of making those solar panels is worse than burning the coal or the gasoline. I mean, they don't tell you that. They always want to go to these solar panels. I keep seeing these ads about free solar panels here in Illinois and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
It's a scam.
But anyway,
it's a scam.
It is a scam. And they're all just making money off of it.
All you got to do is travel back and find out who's the one who is profiting.
Right.
And you'll find out everything.
Follow the
you
money.
Need to know. That is one truism that I have never found to be wrong.
You're right.
That money back. Follow money.
Follow the money. Exactly.
You can say there are 3 reasons in the world. Just 3. Money, power, and sex.
Yep.
And you take away money and power, and guess what? You take away money and sex, and you got power.
I couldn't have put it better myself, Lynn.
Yeah, well, sometimes a good gesture is the best gesture of all.
Couldn't have put it better myself.
You just read between the lines.
Yeah.
But truly, all teasing aside, you take those 3 motives. Those are the only 3 motives that humankind understands.
Yeah.
And an altruistic motive is almost unheard of. It happens. I know it happens. But there always seems to be some sort of little snake in the garden that ruins an altruistic person every time.
Yeah.
particularly when there's money involved.
Oh boy, totally. And people take events and manipulate the perception of them to go whatever way they want to go. Like it's kind of like what we do here with manifestation and looking on the bright side, what's the silver lining, that kind of thing. Except they do it fueled with greed, and
Yes.
it's like
Yeah.
just a bad sort of
It's
manifestation.
sickness. It's almost
Well,
a
And
sickness with them.
we we neglect to understand how manifestation works. It's
mhm,
very it's so damn simple and most of us can't get it. It's simple. The universe's first reaction to what we want is yes. Now, what do we want? Most of us are so damn confused by the day to day nonsense that we don't know what we want.
No.
We,
Or we're in
except
the
for
habit of saying what we don't want.
maybe
yeah.
we're tired of listening to our father and mother bellyache at us, or maybe we're tired of our kids bellyaching at us or the spouse, But other than that, most concepts aren't there. It, you're not manifesting the things that you need because your mind's all blowed out from trying to make a living, trying to deal
Mhm,
with the people in your life. You may love them, that's not an issue, but they're going to come with their challenges.
Yeah.
mhm.
Believe
And
me,
then
I
there's
know they do, and that's not.
grocery shopping and laundry and errands and
Yeah, yeah.
banking and everything else in between.
They're trying to
You
Right.
fix,
know, most
trying to
people don't have time to think about some of this stuff. I get that.
trying to
That's
fix
why they
the
have us.
pesky leak underneath the damn sink.
Mhm.
Something like that. You
And
can
nobody wants
manifest the hell out of that.
and
But
nobody really
Yep.
wants to believe that somebody can be that evil and that maniacal and that
well,
fake.
yeah, they
You know,
can.
I know they can, but nobody really. I mean, I had a hard time. Oh God, at first I would not touch the whole 9/11 thing with a 10-foot pole because of the implications were just too much for me to handle. And
Well,
while I knew that
how old
intuitively
were
that
you when that happened?
let's
Remember?
see, I was in my was I in my 30s, 40s? I got to think about that. I don't know. How old am I now? I have to do the
Hmm,
math.
let's
I don't know.
see. 9/11 happened
Hold
uh
on. 2001, right?
22 years ago.
22 years ago. Okay, so
Okay.
56 minus 22. I was 34.
Okay. I was 42 when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And still hoping for the best in people.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
exactly. I didn't want to believe that my government was capable of that level of evil. I just didn't, I couldn't cope with
I
that.
I said at the time, and I still maintain that it was the best robbery ever pulled off. They never caught him.
Oh, yeah. So, like Building 6, how Building 6 just fell long after the towers were down. It just, and as there was a reporter standing there, I saw this clip. If she's talking, and all of a sudden the building just goes down.
Yeah.
There's nothing falling. There's nothing blowing up. It just,
The Empire State Building was hit by a plane in the 40s. The only reason I know that is that it actually happened on my birthday. And
oh,
I wasn't born in the 40s, but it happened on the day of my birth.
okay.
So then I turn around now look at this thing. The Empire State Building wasn't built 1/10 as well as the towers were.
Oh, yeah, that's
Fancy
true.
that.
Yeah.
Uh, I believe they brought it down. I believe they robbed the safe in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that the murders of how many people died during that?
3,000 some.
3,000 and some.
Yeah.
I truly believe that was cold heartedly calculated And I
Totally.
also don't think the president had the first idea they were going to do it. I don't think so.
They probably kept him in the dark so that his reaction could be genuine.
Well, I think even if he did figure it out, uh, George
Hey,
Bush wasn't all that smart. So, the dad was,
oh
but
yeah, the
I
dad. I
don't
think the
think
dad had
he
everything to
was.
do with it.
I don't think that he was all that gifted. But then I don't think any of them are. They're damn fools are in the presidential seat.
Hmm.
But you know, you got to be a certain kind of stupid to be there in the first place. But
Yeah.
then you turn your attention to what kind of building did this house? What kind of businesses? Daycare for
What were?
business people that work there. Okay, kids are usually considered collateral damage. And then you think, wait a minute, these guys were all stockbrokers, traders, pork belly
Insurance.
traders, the whole
Hmm.
works. A whole bunch of them just bang on. What did that do to our economy? Not a
Yeah.
damn thing. We had a recession, that's true, but it's not anything like this one is. Very different,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Well.
There isn't one reason for any part of these things. There's usually about a dozen or more, and
Oh yeah.
somebody
Oh yeah.
stands to profit from it.
There was a. You can see like little explosions as the tower is starting to pancake down, and one of the people that had an insurance business there was on record saying that for the entire week prior to 9/11, there was an uh, Israeli team who were working, quote unquote, on the elevators, and
Hmm.
they could have very well been the ones that planted the detonation, the dynamite stuff.
Yeah.
But it was made with an energy weapon. There's no doubt about that. There's a scientist. Her name's like her last name is Wood. Can't think of her first name. She's afraid to even come back in the United States because she's a physicist of some sort, um,
They
who
changed it.
tested
Couldn't
some
have
of the
happened that way.
she she tested some of the debris and it showed positive for gosh, what is the name of that substance? It's
Thermite,
an yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah,
Thermite.
and she said that she
thermite
talked about the energy
destroys.
weapon that they had. They had
Yeah.
basically taken Tesla's paperwork and built the death ray, so to speak.
Oh boy.
And that's
Hmm.
what that was. But the
Well,
thermite was evidence
Okay.
of the, yeah,
Yeah.
I got World
Um.
War III going on in my background here. You can hear
Yeah. Well,
it's crazy.
we were headed to a nice segue, but I'm gonna just take us back there. We're started talking about manifestation, and
yeah.
a few minutes ago, right? And I
Mhm.
wanted to bring that into the Schumann resonance, what I said earlier, right? I'm trying to stay on
Yeah.
schedule, trying to stay on
Okay,
Well,
topic.
that's fine. That's fine. Sorry,
I had
sorry, Nathan.
Frank
Okay,
explain it to me. I'm not sure if I got it yet. Even
What, the Schumann resonance thing?
yes.
Okay, there's a background resonance happening all the time. The frequency, they consider it to be the frequency of reality because it's common everywhere. And one lab, one observation out of 100, over 100, came up with this other frequency. And it was made into the biggest of headlines, right? And it turned out to be an accident, a mistake of some kind of accident. It wasn't clear, but it was an anomaly. And everybody said, "Oh, the world is changing." And what happened? Look at everything.
From
Okay.
yeah.
a
Well,
quantum standpoint, when human beings all agree that all hell is breaking loose and this is the cause,
it happens.
is because we quantumly change it with our brain.
Right.
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 And quantum speaking, time does not exist. So it can go backwards as well. What happened in the past little while? And even if the Schumann resonance was a mistake, it was manifested. It
Right.
leads up. And
Right.
someone in Rich's chat says, "What about the random number generators?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's totally relevant. The random
Yeah.
number generators will bring up anomalies like the Schumann resonance, like big events that make big splashes, even though we're talking about billionaires doing this kind of stuff. Well, they're kind of ingrained, entwined, and things like 9/11, very ingrained, entwined. And here comes Schumann resonance.
Well, the
Was
Schumann
that the
resonance did
catalyst?
spike on 9/11. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
the random number generators did. I didn't watch the Schumann resonance. Did
The
it?
Schumann resonance did too. It went off the chart. Went
Okay.
off the
Okay.
page. It said,
Well,
yeah.
I would
Right.
say then human psychic picked up on it. I got up that morning feeling horrible.
Oh God, I had a
Went to
panic
work
attack the day
anyway.
before, and I was here in Illinois, and I just packed up my stuff, and I said, I just got to get home. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me. I about checked myself into a hospital because I was freaking out so bad, and I had no idea why.
Yeah,
I was
I wanted to go
absolutely
home
coming
too.
unhinged, and it was everything I could
Yep.
do to even drive. And
Yeah.
a 6 hour drive took me 9.5 hours. 'Cause I had to stop so much. And
Mhm.
the minute I pulled in the garage, I heard it on the radio. The first tower had been hit, and I felt a sense of relief, which is weird. I don't. I knew what it was then.
Well,
You know.
Right.
I was caregiving at that time. I was taking care of a blind lady, and I had just walked in at 8 o'clock. Now that's 8 o'clock Mountain Time. That had been about 10 o'clock Eastern
New York time.
Standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eastern Standard. Walked in. Television was not part of our routine until the afternoon, so we were unaware, you know.
Mm.
And I hadn't gone and got her up yet, and her son called me, and I said, "Hi Jim, how you doing?" He goes, "You haven't heard yet." And he told me what had happened. He says, "I'm safe. I'm not on that flight." I said, "Were you going to be?" Because I didn't know. He
Oh
goes,
wow.
Lynanne, I missed it. I was late. And I was like, oh shit. What did it
Wow.
hit? He told me about the towers, and he told me later, a little bit later in the conversation, the flight he was supposed to have been on was at, oh shucks, it would have been the one that would have gone to the Pentagon.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
Mhm.
it would have gone down, it would have killed everyone. But
Mhm.
he had missed it. He'd been 5 minutes late, didn't get on the plane. And I said, I asked him, what kept you? What made you decide not to be on time? He goes, everything delayed me. Everything.
Mhm.
I
That's
said,
the
well,
divine
I
hand
said,
of intervention. Yeah, divine
I
intervention.
told him, I said, thank your guides because you
Yeah,
were prevented.
Mhm.
And
absolutely.
I told him, I said, all hell's about to break loose. I said, don't worry about your mom. I'll take care of her, you know?
Mhm.
And it
Yep.
did too. I mean, what, everything was grounded for weeks
Oh
after
yeah.
that,
Oh yeah.
you know? It, it just, everything was very carefully orchestrated in that.
Oh yeah. And remember how every time you turned on the TV, they had those color coded terror alerts. So some days
Mm-hmm.
were orange, some days were yellow, and some days
Is
were
that,
red. Like,
what, is this
oh
your day for annihilation?
yeah.
I thought they were entertaining. Oh,
Mhm.
damn, we missed it again. You
Oh,
know, it. It's interesting. You know, when we as individuals can, you know, actively manifest, we really can.
yeah. Yeah.
you get another person involved in it. Now you're no longer, and Joe describes this beautifully. One person is one horse. Two people are, how does he say that? No, are not 2 horsepower, they're four. They
Yeah.
literally square every time another person gets involved. So you get a number of people together that have the same vision, the same idea of how things should be done. And well, lo and behold, it comes together.
Yeah.
I've seen this happen where a church decided that they were going to have a elementary school, and they wanted it because they felt their children were being kept behind by the local school system. Probably true, and they made up their minds that that's what they were going to do. And this little bitty church pulled that off because everybody had the same mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
There's
those
a
who didn't have that mindset kept their fingers off. They left it alone. They
Hmm.
there's
didn't
a
talk it down or anything else. They let it alone.
Lynn Taggart, I think is the name. She does consciousness experiments. She comes on
Hmm.
Coast to Coast occasionally,
Okay.
and she gets everybody who will participate out there in Radio Land to focus on something, and then they measure. They've done experiments with crime in different cities, and I think that the Maharishi is the first one who actually did this. They went to San Francisco and had a sit-in during the hippie days. I don't remember what year it was, but a bunch of them focused on the crime, and they did reduce the
Yeah.
crime by some
I
percentage or
remember
whatever.
that. Yeah, that happened.
Yeah,
That
and
happened.
so she's been doing the same kind of experiments and stuff, and then she'll come back on Coast to Coast and tell of her results, and there's results every time they do it.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, where two or more gathered is what Christ said in the Bible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Much of the teachings of Christ, in fact, I would say all of the teachings of Christ, not necessarily the dogma before and after, but that particular person, uh, are very sound as
Mm-hmm.
far as their morality, their ethics, their grounding in reality,
Mm-hmm.
but
And
also their grounding in spirituality. All very, very good. And I'm one of the few pagans in the world who will say, now listen, this is worth listening to.
Right. Right.
It
yeah, me
is.
I'm
too.
one.
And
I'm
that's
one
not,
Me
also.
too.
yeah, it's not a
Mm-hmm.
question. It's not a question of religion here. It's a question
True.
of spirituality.
Right.
And religions come and go.
Yep.
No, the whole white light uh, circumstances that we own, whether it's as a Christian or a pagan or someone who's basically an atheist who doesn't really want to involve themselves in the whole religion thing. An atheist, I've known a number of atheists who
Me
had
too.
far higher standards
Yep.
than those around them.
Yep. Me
You
too.
know, I got one.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I got one shot at this. I want to get it right. And
Uh-huh.
they all say that. Well, if you take away the uh, some of the dogma involved in religion, and there's a lot of different concepts there about how to attain salvation, regardless of what salvation means to you. When you take that away from it, it all boils down to I got one shot at this. I want to get it right.
Hmm.
You know, and why do you want to get it right? On some level, you understand that you're going back to the bare basics of your energy levels. you want to make a difference. And not
Hmm.
making any difference, I think, is just akin to annihilation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, when you look at the thing from a very basic standpoint, that's what we're all trying to do is get it right.
Hmm.
And we're realizing that things that were put together, not just in our past, our personal paths right now and further out, we have to examine those ideas as often as possible so that we do get it right.
Yeah. And there's not
Yeah.
just one right. I mean,
Oh no, what's right for
people,
us?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a it's a personal issue, and there's not one
personal
size
journey.
fits all when it comes to
No,
religions and
no.
spirituality. And I wish that some people could just understand that and just relax, you know, just relax. There's been more bloodshed in the history of this planet over religion than anything, and yet all the when you break down the religions that are fighting, they have both of them will have a core concept of thou shalt not kill. So
Yeah,
what the hell are you doing? You know,
yeah.
and they're killing
You
each
know,
other over
I'm getting
names.
it.
What's in the
I'm getting
name?
it. I'm getting it right in my corner. But I insist that I inspect your corner often.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
How about
yeah.
sit in your corner and mind your own damn business? That'll
Amen,
work.
sister. That were exactly. Mind your own business. Mind your own corner. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And
mind
what's
your
the name? Okay,
yard.
so you call it Allah. We call it God, or you call it whatever name. Pick
Yeah,
one. What
Inanna,
what does it
Ishtar.
matter? It doesn't matter. It's a name. We're
Yeah,
all talking about the same kind of entity here. But
the
these people would.
basics. The basics literally go back to Sumer,
Yeah, they
and
do.
Sumer was thousands of years old and
Yep.
had those basics. Those
And
basics really don't change.
no, they don't.
Truly, they don't.
And that's why I just wish everybody in the Middle East could just relax. And I have a theory about the Middle East. I have a theory about this as to why they
Okay.
can't, as to why they just can't stop doing all that. And I think that land literally is soaked with so much blood that it's created a negative vortex there. And because
Uh huh.
most of the people there, I would say, have been brought up in such rigid religious dogma, that they don't dare question it, because that would be an affront to their parents and their parents' parents and
Yeah.
the
And their
family.
great
So they're not
uncle
going
who
to
got
say,
killed in all this,
"Yep,"
and their cousin was blown up last
and
week.
their cousin was yeah, exactly. And so it's
Yeah.
the tit for tat, back and forth. So it's just never
Yeah.
ending. And because there's just so much blood there, um, you can imagine there's going to be a feeding frenzy of negative entities
Yes.
who are going to try to manipulate those that are weak, to continue the
Well,
bloodbath that's there.
between the murder that is involved in that area, we'll call it what it really is. It was murder. And hello, Shadow.
Hello,
Hi,
Shadow.
folks. How you guys doing?
Pretty
Great.
good.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. Had stuff I couldn't get out of. It was fun, so don't worry. You guys having a good evening?
Very.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. So what I miss out on?
Let's see. We talked
Well,
about the submarine, conspiracy
talked
theories
about
around the
that.
submarine, and
Wore that out.
we talked about 9/11, and
I saw that.
uh, now we're on to my theory of why they just can't stop killing
So
each other in the Middle East.
we're
And
talking about the sandbox,
yeah, the
and
sandbox.
that's common name for it.
For
And
what?
the sandbox.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Um, Raven was explaining pretty basic that between all of the bloodshed that has taken place there over the last 2,000, 3,000 years, it's created something of a negative vortex. But you got to figure that even the Christian Armageddon takes place in the Middle East.
Yeah. Well,
Jerusalem.
and so did the
Magneto.
Crusades. You know, look at how
Uh,
many Crusades there were, and that
Right.
added contributed even more to the bloodshed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
I
blood,
mean, and I think that's a fairly decent way of looking at it. Between and you're right.
I would be willing to bet there's also one very south of the border as well as over in Europe.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
there's different areas that are, yeah, absolutely.
There are places like well, say Juarez. Juarez is
Yeah.
not that far from here.
Nope.
That
Nope.
you can walk in there, everybody see you go in, everybody know everybody else, everybody know what's going on with everybody else. And when suddenly one person is missing,
Hmm.
it happens that fast. So,
Yep.
and whether that's a vortex or simply the right place, the wrong
A high
time.
scum and villainy, as Nathan would say.
Well, the availability and whatever else, people disappear down there very very often. Of course, the triangle things happen there quite a bit too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I would say negative
Hey,
vortexes
Shadow.
What's happening, buddy?
are
Nathan, your screen is blinking. Is it doing that for anybody else?
no,
You're like going on and off.
Mm-mm.
no.
It's just me mine then, right? Okay.
Well, anyway, with the whole business of
Hmm.
there being a negative vortex, you take any place that has had an extreme amount of emotion and
Drama.
drama, murder, bloodshed, high emotion situations, and you're going to find that not only is the thing haunted as hell, it's also energetically it's tough for anybody who has an ounce of psychic ability just to be near the places, because the noise in their head just gets louder and louder and louder. My sister came home. She and her husband had been involved in the army for several years. They made a career of it. I say they because when you're a family of a serviceman, it's your career too. And they had gone to Dachau there in Poland. They were close enough that they were able to go. And my brother-in-law was the sort of person, he led a squad of men, actually quite a big one. I don't know how many that was, but he'd fill a school bus up and take them all sightseeing on the weekend. He wouldn't allow them to lay around and feel sorry for themselves being in a foreign country. So they would go every weekend, go sightseeing somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So they had gone to Dachau. My sister is almost a psychic null. She does not see or feel anything. And she came home and she called me up. She goes, if you're ever in Europe and you have an opportunity to visit a concentration camp, she said, for the love of God, don't go. And I said, oh yeah? She goes, I know you see things. I know you feel things. I know you hear things. He goes, when I can see and hear and feel them too, it's
my
loud.
God.
It's loud.
Right. I couldn't imagine.
I asked her, I said, did you see ghosts? She goes, all over the place. And I said, isn't that something? I said, you usually don't see anything you don't want to. She goes, I never do, but I saw these. She goes, and I never want to go anywhere near those places again. I said, I can
No, there's
understand
no way
that.
in hell I would even try.
Well, heck no.
Hell
After
no.
after hearing that, I won't go anywhere near the Fort Bliss lunatic
Well,
asylum.
that's just kind of depressing. If you're on vacation, you're there to have a good time. You know, why go to one of the most depressing, horrible places of human suffering? That's like, that to me seems strange.
I
But
don't think that when you go to a place like that, it's about a vacation. It's about seeing for yourself that people can be cruel to others, cruel and
yeah,
inhuman.
well, and then they're trying to deny. There's the whole Holocaust deniers and stuff.
Yeah,
Where the hell even?
Well, she
When I
went
think of
because we
vacation,
had
that's
family
not what
that
I'm
were
thinking.
lost there.
Yeah, me
If
neither.
there's not little umbrella drinks and, you know,
That's
umbrellas.
my idea of vacation. She
I get
went
it that
because
there's a lot of academics and professionals and you know, researchers and things like that, but just don't call it a freaking vacation. You know, no.
no, they went because we lost family there.
Oh, okay. I see.
So,
yeah,
you know, it was more or less respect.
right. Gotcha.
But any place like this, lunatic asylums are absolutely loaded for bear with psychic phenomena.
Yeah, that's all those paranormal teams go into those places, and oh my God, I wouldn't touch some of the 10-foot pole, and
You
they get
disagree.
crazy shit following them home, and then attaching to them and causing them nightmares and crazy shit going on in their house. No, thank you. I got enough crazy shit going on in my house. Okay,
Hard
I don't
pass,
need that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to end up in one for a completely different reason, having gone to
Like
visit
maybe
one. You know what I
being
mean?
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go visit
So-
one and then I got to go into one. You know, because I need help. No thanks.
I worked in a facility in Canton, Ohio, that while it wasn't the best in the world, it was the indigent care facility for those who had no one, nowhere to go. It was also a place for people to drop off their mentally ill and retarded children.
Mm.
You know, it was a place for the violently and criminally insane as well. They were housed on a different floor entirely.
And the last thing I do is tell them I've got no family. You know, it's like, yeah, I got all kinds of family.
You don't want
They'll
to
be
tell
here any minute.
anybody you don't have family right now. Particularly not the largest hospital in El Paso.
I ever go to one of those places, I'm putting all you guys' names down.
Come and collect this crazy man. We don't know what to do with him. No.
I know you guys will have my back. Nathan will be there in like 8 minutes. It's like, yeah, he's coming with me. He's coming with me.
Uh-huh. Well, we'll see how crazy you really are. If you come to my house, if you think you're crazy there, you ain't seen nothing yet. You know, this place was for being the kind of place that it was very well run. And I'm not saying that because I'm under any kind of contract. I'm not.
Well, except for the nurse that was paying the one guy $5 and to sleep on his bed, right?
I said it wasn't the best place in the world now, did I?
Oh God, that's
But
funny.
I'll tell you what, when I found out about it, it stopped.
Yeah.
And I found out about most of it within 6 months. But any place like this that involves a lot of people and a lot of people's money, you need to watch them really careful. Really careful. That they are haunted. They are so haunted.
Yeah.
what I wasn't expecting was for my office to be haunted. The caregiving agency that I worked for had a gentleman supervisor decide to end it all, and they put me in that room because nobody else would go in there. And I didn't know
Let's put the psychic in the haunted room. Yeah.
I didn't know.
How well did that go over?
So I'm sitting there minding my own business, and this guy kicks my desk from overhead. Like, what the hell's now? You know. And I look at this guy, and he's at me, and I'm like, so why don't you come down there and discuss it? Maybe we can find the light for you. You know. I mean, I had that conversation.
So
my secretary went screaming out of there.
That's what I would do.
And I sat and talked to him for about 20 minutes. He goes, are you another one of those bitches that don't know what the hell they're doing? I said, you know what? I'm not. I said, well, I'm a bitch, but I do know what I'm doing. And he goes,
you were going to say that.
We'll see. Because if you're not, I'm going to follow you and scare the hell out of you. I said, I have scarier things than my Wheaties. You know? He didn't bother me. Now, my secretary, he scared the
Where the hell are you
out of
buying your Wheaties?
Sorry?
Where the hell are you buying your Wheaties? Where do you buy your Wheaties?
God.
Seriously.
I'll send them.
I'd
to
be
you.
taking that
It's
box
all
right
good.
the hell back.
Don't you do divination with your Wheaties? I do. So anyway.
I kind of with my SpaghettiOs, but that's a totally different, breakfast
that's
food. I don't
entirely
know.
different. It's not like
Is it different?
whatever you say, honey. You know.
Well, Wheaties, they all look the same. They're just flakes. At least with my SpaghettiOs, I get like letters and shapes and stuff. And
See, I think you said
meatballs.
the word there a little bit ago is it's flakes. So anyway. I had 4 sisters. Don't try. Just don't even try. It ain't worth it. So anyway.
So how'd you get rid of the ghost?
Sorry?
Did you send the ghost packing? Did you send him on?
He bothered me for about 4 weeks during beginning of my work there. The Flaky Show, yeah, sure. Anyway, potato flakes, cereal flakes. This poor man had a lot of trouble in his life, and he couldn't deal with it. It's understandable, And one night I had to stay late. I had a payroll to put out, and my secretary had gone home sick again. She wasn't going to be there at night. No way, no how. I didn't give a damn. So anyway.
So was he like there every day that you went into work, bugging you?
No.
Just hanging out, or?
Occasionally, you'd know he was there. So something would go flying. The windows were closed, but every now and again, files would go flying off the desk and other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Or you'd hear maniacal laughing, or somebody choking to death.
Oh, what do you do? Hung yourself?
Yeah, he did everything to get me out of there. That was his office. So anyway, now I figured that out. So I'm doing this payroll. I said, if you're not going to help do this payroll, I would appreciate it if you just sit in the corner there and shut up. And it stopped, and I glanced up, and he was in the corner sitting there, And I said,
Hmm.
it might be time for you to go home. What do you say? Have you forgiven yourself yet? What do you know about it? I said, I know a good bit about it. Talked to him back and forth like that. And then I offered him, I said, why don't we go to the light? I said, if you're afraid to go by yourself, I'll go with you. And he said, no, I can do this. I said, for just 1 minute, think about the person you love the most. That person gone? Yeah, they left me. I said, but have they passed? Yeah, they have. Just sit there and think about that person. And pretty soon they'll come to you. He goes, is it all right if it's a dog? I said, perfectly fine. Oh, I could make this shit up if I wanted to. This is so ridiculous. And
Oh my God.
I said, think about your dog. He knows the way home. He goes, what about God? I said,
I'm pretty sure he
what do
knows the
you
way home
think
too.
I'm sitting here about? I said, God doesn't mind. He said he didn't like that you did that. I said, but don't you think you've been punished enough? He had been in that office for 20 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He goes, all right, I see the light. I said, your dog there? He goes, yeah. Like, holy shit, stupid bitch is right. And it said as much. I'm like I said, if I had a story I would want to make up, this isn't it. So, he went to light.
Cool.
He looked back, I saw him go, and he waved to me. He goes, thank you. I said, no problem.
Get the fuck out of my office. This is my French.
Fuck out of my office, yeah. I got things to do here. It did not take me 2 hours to do that payroll. It took me 5.
Mm.
Between his grousing and the rest of it, it took me 5.
Oh, I'm on
But
camera.
it's chump change in my book. Just go get it done, At least he got over.
Yep.
Now, what was waiting for him there? I don't know. I wasn't there to see that. But I don't think he was afraid to go anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of disembodied souls really have their problem.
Yeah, well, the church tells them that they can't go to heaven, that they're going to be going to hell. Purgatory is about the best they can hope for. That's what the church tells them. So they don't.
Even if they're a good person.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you buy this dispensation.
Oh well, yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
They won't even bury to this day. They won't bury them inside the
consecrated
graveyards, the consecrated ground. Yeah, they have to go on the outside. I had a friend commit suicide, and yeah, they had his grave marker on the outside of the rest of the cemetery, and yeah. And I knew he was.
That doesn't count lifestyle choices or anything else.
Yeah.
That's just people making other people's decisions for them. That we look at that, and the grace of God is available to everyone.
Absolutely
everyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty then. I walked out, got coffee, and come back. I was like, whoa.
You leave. In my defense, I was left unsupervised. It is not my fault.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean,
And he was
I can relate.
He was supposed to mind the store, and he didn't know what to do either. So.
Yeah, when you say you're talking about sit in the corner and let me do this payroll, that's a lot like what I do here. Is every time I start hearing noises when I'm half asleep or asleep, I go, grab anything you want, just be quiet. And it stops. I'm like, play with anything you want, just be quiet, and it stops.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, and then it's me knocking stuff over, you know.
I wish that worked in my
But
house.
We had
but yeah, I mean,
Or that they
even
put the
last
seat down.
night,
Huh?
we had
do
we
Or
what?
that they would put the seat down, Raven.
Yeah, really.
get out of there. You know, it we had a spirit at we had bought a Victorian house,
Oh, I love those.
and the this place was shambles.
Oh, I've
Anyway,
painted a good many of them, and
well,
they just need some TLC.
we bought it. We bought it with the thought of fixing it
Yeah.
and all that, and we did that. We did that, but we finally got upstairs in the attic, and I looked around, and this was had been turned into a bedroom. Someone
Hmm.
slept up there in Ohio weather,
Oh my.
in heat and in snow, and I thought, this is very strange. I looked around for a source of heat, if there had been a covered up, uh, stovepipe or anything like that. No, nothing, nothing at all. And I sat down in a corner and I said, show me what this place looked like. It was very bare, very bare. It was a little iron bed that had a little uh, pot underneath for your business, and uh, a pitcher on a washstand and two hooks. And I said, okay, let's find the hooks, see if I'm right. They were there, and I went to where that bed had been standing, and I used some luminol because I had at that time had been a forensic cleaner. So I used luminol in order to find uh, bits that you don't want to leave there, And anyway, I found the spot where that little commode had been stationed.
Oh, okay. I get you
So
now. All right.
so I thought, okay, vision's correct. So I said, is anybody still here? I heard laughing, laughing and gibberish, laughing and gibberish. And I said, well, I said, I'm not going to stay here. I said, although my son may be up to play from time to time, I would appreciate if you leave him be. And went downstairs and I left it alone. Next door neighbor lady, old woman, well in her 90s, spry as she could have been, very, very together. Her mind was good. She came up and had a cup of tea on my porch with me one day. She goes, "Do you know about this house?" I said, "No, I don't. I don't think I know anything about it." She goes, "Well, she says that upper floor, that attic. She says in the Victorian times they used to lock up a crazy relative in their attic or a retarded child. She is
I
that one
knew it.
had a retired child, had a retarded child. I didn't know anything about it. Truly, I didn't.
Hmm.
And I thought, wow. I said, so that's who's hanging out up there, huh? She goes, he's still there. She goes, he was put in there when I was just a little girl. And I said, oh my goodness. And I got to remember, this was back in, oh gee, about 1990. So that would have been turn of the century,
Hmm.
you know. And she remembered the person upstairs. And I said, well,
Wow.
what else do you remember? She goes, well, one day during the flu epidemic, I was about 10, 12 years old. She goes, they carried him down out of there. He had gotten the flu from a family member.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
it was like, oh wow.
Yeah, he probably didn't
Usually
know
you
he was.
don't have that kind of story to go with these things.
Mhm.
You don't know where they've come from or why they haven't gone on or any of that. You don't know.
Yeah,
But he had been a retarded child and or autistic would be called now, who
yeah.
just simply never spoke, just laughed.
And he probably didn't realize he was dead, and he went back to the place that he was most familiar, and that's why he
Yeah.
was still haunting the attic.
Well, they're so often they were let to be feral,
Yeah,
because they didn't feel it. Most people do not understand some of the Victorian idea or Edwardian, and that would have been Edwardian. But the common thought was that these people, if they couldn't see or hear, they were animals.
yeah.
So
Mm.
they
Or they were possessed.
or possessed. That happened. That didn't happen an
My
awful lot in a larger city, but it did happen.
my aunt's house had a retarded child, the people that they had bought the house from, and they had like a
Oh,
screen door that they installed in the bedroom door so they could see in, but they could lock him in there. And they left that when they sold the house. And my cousin got that room, and he was a little boy, and my aunt would hear him talking to somebody all the time. And so he had this imaginary friend. It was this young boy, the boy that was locked up in there.
yeah.
And yeah,
I would like to know. I think how many youngsters actually had that fate and were kind of caught between worlds, if you will, afraid to leave home,
yeah,
but nothing there for them. It's very sad.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
and it's,
I bet there's
I'm
a lot.
that's not even talking about any abuses they might have suffered or any of the rest of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it
Well,
wasn't considered abuse back then because
Oh
yeah, like
no,
you said, they had different ideas
they
about
had a
even up
whole
into the
different
60s.
idea.
They had,
It
they were performing lobotomies on people and doing stuff
oh
like
yeah.
that, and they didn't understand autism and uh, all these things.
Well,
It's.
Jack Kennedy's younger sister had a
I was just
lobotomy.
You read my mind. You read my mind. I was just
Yeah,
thinking
I
about her.
knew
I
you
was just
were
getting
going
ready to
there.
say something. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So their social mores, the social mores have gone so differently, even
Now,
in the
now you
last
can say you're
40
a cat
years.
and you're not put in a crazy farm.
Yeah, yeah. It's.
There's
Well,
actually some
no,
school
they
considering putting
might
in a
take
litter
the
box for this
cats
child that
though.
went to. I identify as a cat and I need a litter box, and they're actually considering doing this. I'm like, has the world gone absolutely mad? I mean, what?
I don't think it is any different than it was 1,000 years ago. What I do think is that we have more communication now than we ever had. We know about more going on.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
And
True.
I think that's part of our stress is we know way too much about other people's business.
Right.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
I think in the old days, yeah, if you're a cat, you need to be locked up in the attic. That would be the only way they could deal with it other than sending you to an asylum.
Right.
You know,
And
there
now that's
wasn't
considered
meds.
Mhm.
part of your right to be to identify
However
with
you want to
whatever
do.
you want to identify as. Okay.
I'm like I identify as a grumpy old lady whose spirit animal is the Tasmanian cross between how do you say that? An
Tasmanian
unholy
devil.
an unholy trinity of a Tasmanian devil, a wolverine, and a really angry black cat.
I would take that as a compliment.
But it's we know more about what is going on than we ever knew before.
Yeah.
You
In some
know,
ways, that's good. In some ways, not so much.
And it's
when I was
raising
a
all kinds of
child,
other questions with those key pieces
yeah,
of
it is.
knowledge.
When
Yeah.
I was a little kid, the Bay of Pigs confrontation, and the
Mm,
whole nation thought there was going to be nuclear war.
yeah.
No,
I've seen those videos where they were showing the kids the little
yeah,
drills and they go into their desk like, in a nuclear war, it's not going to matter. Your desk is not going to save you.
it gives
Why
you,
even?
all it was to give you something to do so that you would not panic,
Yeah.
so that your death would be no worse than it was going to be. But in '65, well, Bay of Pigs happened in what, '62? So
It's before my
I'd have been
time. So,
little. I was very little,
yeah.
and my mom showed signs of stress, and I asked her what was wrong, and she goes, "Well," she goes, "things are pretty tough in the world right now, and I'm just a little worried over it."
Mm-hmm.
And being the person I am, I yanked her skirt a little bit. I said, "Mama, don't worry, God's got it." You know,
Cool.
God's got it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she looked at me and she goes, "You're right. Worrying about it's not going to help."
Yeah.
And she let it go. She says, "If I'm here tomorrow, I'll be fine. If I'm not, it'll be fine. God's got
Yeah.
it." And she'd
Yeah.
say that back and forth all through my life and all through hers. God's got it. It's all right. And I think we need to realize that when we get all worked up and angry and upset about this stuff, we lend it energy.
Yeah.
We lend it power to manifest. How about them apples? See,
Yeah,
there's
Yeah.
the
and the
dark
energy
side.
that yeah, and the energy you're putting into it is just it's
It empowers it.
flavoring the power with that
Anchoring it.
confusion and frustration.
Yep.
The same power that puts together a school and a church, okay, against all odds, I might add,
Hmm.
is the same power that fuels a catastrophe. You know,
Hmm.
same power.
Yeah.
You know, and once we start to realize that, we need to look at these things and say, okay, God's got it. Let it go and don't think about it
That's
because
where
we don't want to manifest it.
I find it so interesting that there's a special division in the FBI that works with Hollywood, and it was Stone. What's his last name is Stone. Oliver Stone was talking about, or
Yeah.
actually, it was his son was talking about it. I can't think of his first name now. Um, how they would call, and they would want these movies made as a form of soft disclosure, and
Right. And I don't
and
think that's changed.
no, it hasn't. But they use it, the collective consciousness against, they work it against us by all these scary stuff and these scenarios, of
I don't
uh,
know about that. You
alien
know,
invasion type stuff, and think of it like the egregores and stuff that are made from people collectively believing in certain,
it's
demonic
certainly
forces.
become more
Like the
prevalent.
100 Monkeys test.
Beg your
Say what?
pardon?
The 100 Monkeys. You guys heard of that?
Yeah, the 100th monkey. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Uh, Disney. It's funny that somebody brought up Disney just now. I guess that was Nathan. Disney during the 60s and 70s had a lovely batch of things come out about the future. You know, what
A
we would be able to
string of
do.
movies and
Oh,
TV
yeah.
shows.
Oh, really?
Just little 1 hour visionaries that showed you what the average kitchen in 2020 or the year 2000, that was a big number, was going to look like. And you know what? It very much does. it very much looks like that now. Now, I
Hmm.
would like to see our movies start to cool it and go to some of the more positive things that the collective can visualize and bring into fruition, you know, without the constant stream of violence and profanity and obscenity.
And it seems like all of Hollywood right now is obsessed with Satanism. You know,
It's like,
from the
why?
halftime stuff, it's like
I
ridiculous.
I don't get
It's
it.
been that way for a long time, Raven.
Yeah, well, don't lump us in with them because they have a whole different pantheon than we do. But you know, the average Satanist that I have known, and I have known a couple, usually is invested in personal power,
Mhm.
personal gain, and affecting his own world for himself,
Right,
and is not being a least bit worried about what anybody else thinks about it. Hey,
right.
wait a
Not
minute.
trying to make
Doesn't that sound
converts.
like your average CEO?
Yeah,
Huh,
yeah,
that's that.
yeah. And they're not trying to convert anybody,
I
and they're
don't
not
care.
protesting anything. And
If
there was
you belong to him, that's great. If you don't, that's great too. Toddle on, we'll find the next guy.
I read over the tenets that they have. It was
Yeah.
like eight, maybe 10 of them, 8 to 10 of them, whatever. My friend sent me an article and it was like, I couldn't argue with any one of those tenets. I couldn't argue with any of them. And there was nothing in there that was diabolical. There was nothing in
Mm-mm.
there that was, uh,
It's all very eye oriented though.
yeah,
That you have to.
and
It doesn't worry about altruism very much.
no, and it comes from a place of personal responsibility,
Yeah.
Yep.
not so much selfishness, although there is some narcissism, I guess one could accuse it of. But
There's
I
some
mean, what isn't,
narcissism in some churches too. You
yeah.
know,
So
it's
I
a
know when I
human
read over
condition.
these things, I'm like, I couldn't argue with any of them. I
Yeah.
thought, well, this is pretty sound philosophy, and not
Uh,
necessarily good or bad. It just
it's sort of like a Methodist, a Catholic, a Baptist. They're all Christians, you know, but they're all different groups of Christianity.
yeah.
Different belief styles, and Satanism has as many of those as they have groups. Every one of them operates a little bit differently, just like the church does, just like
Hmm.
paganism works, Hinduism, you name it. You're going to
Disney
have
movie
a
about
different.
alien abductions. What is this? Can you see that?
That's the movie I was talking about.
Oh,
Yeah, what's
oh
that
my
all about?
God.
What's all that about?
That's the new movie. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I
No,
had to get
no,
this out. It
please.
took me a minute to get the screen ready. Amy
Well, it
covered
gave you
that
an
a couple of days
opportunity.
ago. Hmm.
Gave you an opportunity.
Yeah,
So
but
have you
that's
watched it?
no. It's about to come out. It's not out yet. But she
Oh,
did a comparison of the cover on this, the cover of this movie, and the cover of Fire in the Sky, and they are very similar.
oh,
How
okay.
about
Hmm.
Hmm.
well,
I just had
we
to show
can't
that.
miss this. We got to see that one,
That's
don't we?
Yeah.
interesting. Disney is now going alien abduction. Wow. Wow.
Oh, they're just getting back to it. They're getting back to alien abduction because in the 60s, they had it about that too. I
Yeah.
mean, Disney has gone
Oh,
for the money lately until Elio, and I think somebody snuck that one in.
Well,
I
it's
think they're
probably
sneaking that one in.
the big nose thumb to a certain party wants to rule the world.
Right.
But
so Elio is awfully close to the name Elon.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about
I don't think
that.
that's exactly what they're after.
I'm just saying.
But
Could be.
I haven't seen the movie yet, so when I do see it, I will have a better idea of
Let's
what
have a
is
movie
going on.
review.
But
Let's all watch it and let's do a movie review on it.
Yeah.
okay, we can do that.
Yeah, let's
What
do
movie
that.
is this?
Quantum panel, quantum review. Disney's
Quantum
What
Panel,
movie is
Elio.
Yeah, this Disney
Elio.
movie.
Let me bring
Elio.
it back up.
It's all about
I'm
alien
overdue
abduction.
for a date night. I'm in.
When's it come out?
Let me bring
Nathan?
it back up here. It's this show, Disney's movie about abduction, Elio. Disney Pixar. See, it comes out in 2024.
Oh, well, shit. That's
Oh God.
sorry, guys.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, that's a bit off.
What do you mean?
It's a year away, right? 6 months to a year
Well,
away.
not quite a year. Not
That's
quite a
about
year,
how
not
often
anymore.
That happens. Yep. Like
Well,
I
it
said,
depends
I'm
on when it
overdue
gets released.
for
I
a
mean, if
date
it's
night.
like Christmas Day or something.
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
Oh,
but
let's
yeah,
go see about alien abduction. Have our kids crying all weekend. That sounds great.
My
But
friend,
this
you guys met Jackie. He'll be making fun of it, cracking jokes in the theater.
Well, I imagine some others will be too, if they're only in my seat. But you know, I can't seem to help myself. So
Yeah, but I
I
had
get
to bring
peanuts
this up
and popcorn
because
thrown
it's
at me.
relevant. And that
Yeah.
was Amy's show from yesterday, turns out. That was Amy's show from yesterday. Links will be in the description after if I can figure out how to remember to do it. She knows I refer to her show all the time.
I'm going to have to
Right.
find a way to bribe her to make her show like 2 hours later.
May I have water?
It was too damn early.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It-
Well,
At 4 o'clock, I'm
is
usually
there
just
gonna
it's
getting
just
to bed.
as of now, that's Amy's show.
Is there anything going to be triggering
Sorry.
to those that are experienced it? You know?
I don't know. There is a teaser trailer out now. I haven't watched it in total yet, but I'm going to. And yeah, the slow drip disclosure. It's been since the 60s, and
Yeah, you
it's
guys
really
remember
probably
Project Blue
since the
Book?
50s.
Oh, yeah.
Did anybody
Yeah.
besides me watch Project Blue Book on TV? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
I did. I
that was
did.
I
like
watched
that was
I
the
don't
some of
see
it.
hardcore
TV
beginning.
most days. I might see
saw them all.
something online, but I don't really watch television.
Oh, this is back in the 70s or 80s,
Yeah, same. That was
mid to late 70s, early 80s ish. I don't remember, but that was like the official beginning of disclosure, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Dr. Hynek, and then he basically was just a scientist, and he wasn't a believer, and he became a believer after
Yep.
going on these different cases,
Yeah,
and
he didn't even find out about Roswell until the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of course, once that
Yeah,
was
Hynek.
done, it really wasn't talked an awful lot about. I mean,
Well, there was
kept
the
it going,
James Earl
but-
Jones movie, Interrupted Journey with James Earl Jones. That's an eye opener.
Oh,
Betty
yeah.
and Barney Hill.
Yeah,
Yep.
they were terrified by that.
yeah,
It
But-
Yeah.
their
It's
story is so
funny, too, 'cause-
credible, Bill, because Betty was able to draw that star map of what is it, Alpha Centauri or something? What was that? Anyway, we didn't even have a telescope strong enough until several years later to identify that star, since it was like a dwarf.
That it was correct.
And then
Yeah,
Marjorie
that's
Fish
correct. And why
verified it
would-
for us.
And why would either one of them have any idea of it?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
and at the
It's
time,
impossible. It's just like the Dogon tribe. And I think it's
Yeah.
Sirius.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
and they
Sirius,
knew
thank
it
you.
was a
That's
binary
it.
star.
Sirius
They knew it
B.
was a binary star. They didn't even have freaking glass, let alone,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna
Yeah.
we're just gonna, blow that off as just coincidence and
Coincidence. Yeah, right.
yeah, bullshit. Excuse
Well,
my French,
we
but
are if we're a government agency. Can have this disrupting our routine.
and our
You know,
tax flow.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I wasn't raised this way at all. I was raised extremely strictly and extremely uh the government knows what it's doing. There are experts, you know, you
Yeah.
Excuse my bursting out into
doctors
hysterical
are
laughter.
God. Doctors are God. That was
Oh
cute.
yeah, I was raised the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole business I was raised that
Surrender your
way.
power to the authority.
Mm.
Surrender
Yeah,
your
it
whatever to
really
the
didn't
doctor.
take
Yeah.
me till I was about 25 to say this is all bullshit. You know, every bit of it. And doctors, especially in
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I won't even go there.
I
Don't even
was
get me started.
raised to know it was bullshit.
Thank
My
you.
mom,
Same
my
here.
grandmother,
Bye,
my
my
mom,
old
my
man, Happy
grandmother
Reed.
said,
well, I think one of the fun ones was no, you don't need to go to college. You know, you're going to get married and your husband will take care of you. That was cute.
mm,
I've been through a fiance, a husband, a second husband, and a third. Okay. I was widowed twice by the time I was 21, but my husband was going to take care of me. I have spent most of my life nursing people without a degree and doing fine at it. Doesn't mean I never took classes or I never took courses. I did. But for what I was doing, those classes and courses were plenty, you know, to do what I was doing with people. I was putting people that came back from a doctor and putting them back on their feet because you got to know when you walk out of a hospital, you are not well. You know, if you survive what they do to you.
Sad but true. Yeah.
No arguments here.
So, but I was a girl. I wasn't worth educating. Now, that's the difference between what is it, 15 years for some of us, 10 years for others. And I grew up with that bullshit.
mm, yeah. Well, luckily, I didn't have to grow up with that because my family was comprised mainly of women because the men were always gone for one reason or another. And it was strong women who didn't believe in that stuff. They believed in you take care of yourself, you make it work, you make it happen, and you're just as strong. Um, yeah, that's, and I was raised with the same thing. You know, I was raised the same way. And that surprises a lot of people. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. They have some kind of preconceived notion about people, and then they try to put that on top of me, and I break that little preconception really quick.
Well, there's a lot of
And we
stuff
all
on
do.
television that absolutely turns women into some kind of witch, if you'll pardon the expression, and men into some sort of walking idiot. And it's not true, but it's amazing how many people think it is.
I'm kind of dumb sometimes. Can't
I
argue
haven't
that.
caught you at it. I haven't caught you at it.
No,
I haven't caught
I made
Nathan
some
at it.
bonehead mistakes. I made some bonehead mistakes.
Well, now, wait a minute. A mistake does not make you stupid. It makes you wiser.
I usually don't do the same thing twice. Usually.
Oh, I don't know. I got married 4 times. I'm an idiot. You know? my best accomplishment in my life has been meeting and being with Frank. That's one of the best ones I can count. Man is open-minded. He's able to see all sides of a story, able to understand most sides of a story, and will understand the rest of it if he's given half a chance. You know,
Mhm.
staying up with that has been
Raven
a
down.
lot of
Raven
fun.
down.
Cat on.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh,
Cat
oh,
incident.
sorry.
Did you
There's
set the
something
place
in
on
the
fire?
tree. There's something in the tree right over here, and my leg hit the. Oh, damn it! Oh, so
Yep.
Shit.
Okay. That's okay. She'll be back.
She'll be back.
Yeah.
She has a tripod.
Hey, listen, if
She
I was
has a
her, I'd
tripod
put
for
a
sure.
.2 on that damn thing. Yeah. Anyway,
I know she has a tripod. I sent her a tripod.
I'm on a freaking tablet, and you know,
no, and you know, when you get the right partner in life, that's absolute win. You can't go any better to get the right partner. And if you get the wrong partner, are you in trouble?
Yep.
So,
Oh boy.
and I've had it both
Me and Raven
ways.
were talking about that earlier, but
Uh-oh,
yesterday.
Nathan's
Both ways.
Say again.
My
I said, "Oh, Nathan's hitting the hard stuff."
yeah, Nathan, all I know. But you know, the hard stuff. Oh, my first husband was a piece of work. You know, it's more of the same. You guys know what I'm talking about. And you know, uh, my ex that I take care of here is always a good person. I couldn't always see eye to eye with him, but he was always a good person.
Everything happens for a reason, Lynanne.
It
You know
does.
that.
It does. You know, had I not met Frank, Miller would be dead now. So would John, and so would I, because the circumstances of my coming here saved all three of us. That's something to be interested in. You know, the things that happen to us that we think are so god awful we can't bear them and can't get through them are the same things that take us where we're going to the situation that is better, the
Absolutely,
situation that is
100%.
ideal. Just patience with it. That would be my big thing to say about all of that. It's been easy. Oh, hell no. It hasn't been easy. Gosh.
No.
My ex came to my house and said, I got to have open heart surgery, and I got nobody to help me. You know? And I said, of course you do. I never left you. I wasn't the one who left, you know? But, you know, he had that surgery. We helped him through it. My husband brought him home from the hospital and parked him in my front room and said, you stay here as long as you gotta. Well, it's been 25 years. And he's come and gone a few times. He seems to come back.
Yeah.
And, you know, this last time's probably the last time that he'll leave.
oh no,
That's
don't.
fine.
Cat attack.
You should have seen the perspective.
Hey, Raven, can you do me a favor?
Yeah,
What's your calendar say? Well, what's the date?
I don't know. 22nd, 23rd.
Just checking.
24th? I don't know.
It's not a
why?
13, is it? Not a 13, is
No.
it?
No.
Okay.
The
Just checking.
13.
Okay.
Well, it's Friday.
Yeah.
It's Friday.
13's a good number though. 13's a great number.
So what?
Just
This
checking.
is the
Just checking.
23rd.
Awesome number. I love the
Yeah,
number
just checking.
13.
6 and 5 are 11, and 23 is a 7. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got 11 and 7 is 18. It's a 9.
It's a 9-day.
So
Yeah.
that means tomorrow's a brand new day, don't it?
Yeah. Whole new cycle.
The number
Isn't
one.
that the way it always works?
Is it?
What do you
Tomorrow's a
mean?
brand new day.
Oh, well,
When I say it's a brand new day, it's a beginning. It's a number
Yeah.
one. It's where
Yes,
everything starts
it's
over.
numerology lingo. So,
It is.
Okay. 'Cause,
And
I mean, I've
tomorrow's
always
a brand
thought
new day.
tomorrow's a brand new day. I mean, it's just physics.
okay, yes, it is. Yeah, you know, say that.
Sorry,
And
my
you know
muggle
what?
brain, trying to deal with it all.
And different days have their challenges. I don't care for 5s.
Fives, yeah, fives are
So
pretty
those
crazy.
are swinging from the chandelier. I've
Yeah,
had
that's
enough
chaos.
of that.
That's chaos energy, change energy, often changed via chaos. Yeah. I don't like.
I have 3 grandchildren whose numbers are 5. Their base number is 5.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, holy Toledo. I told their mother on each of them, I said, you are about to embark on an impossible situation. I said, fortunately, you're up for it. She's like, what does that mean? I said, you'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. So what's your life path number?
These 2 little darlings have used the bunk beds for a trampoline until they actually jumped right through one. The broken arm out of that one. Broken teeth, busted noses, and that's on a good day. So they are little hellions, and I love
13's a good day. Well, Nathan's a 13. You were born on the 13th.
That's
you 11, 13? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a 4.
See?
That's
13's
a 4.
a good number.
Hide and wait.
The rest of it adds me up to a 1.
Oh, don't be in your way.
Yeah, the whole number, I've gone over these numbers. The rest of it adds me up to a number 1.
Yeah.
What's your year?
All the numbers involved. Down to the time. Yeah, let's not blast that on the internet, shall we? I don't want to.
Okay.
I mean,
I know it is.
yeah, there's a field of Nathan Allens out there, but I don't want to even single myself out.
No.
I know what it is. Okay. Oh,
quite honestly, with all the numbers can be manipulated any way you want to.
Yeah.
You can add them, you can subtract them. I think one of the bigger problems, and I think one of the reasons why women are so damn confused most of the time, is we change our name too often.
Yeah.
You'll hear a little kid say, "I don't want to be Chelsea today. I want to be Brittany." And it's just so I'm being called Brittany. Litter box comes to mind. But anyway, the kids will do that. And, they've got to understand their name is the only thing on earth that they own. That's it. It's the only thing.
Nathan, I come up with a 4.
And their reputation.
Well, you got to go with the time also, and I don't have that time handy with me.
No, I'm just doing the straight numerology. I don't need your time of birth for that.
Yeah,
just your date.
You're not doing astrology.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
you're a 31-4.
I was told coming up to a 4.
30.
Okay.
3 + 1 is a 4. You're a 31-4. It's like 31/4.
Okay.
Yeah. If I got the year right.
That's a different way of doing it too. Everybody has their own speciality.
Yeah. There's their. But
it's not standardized at all, and I really wish it would be at some point. But This would be like trying to get all of the different traditions in paganism to agree on one point. So this is
Right.
not going to
And
happen.
I'm counting on my fingers.
it's totally quantum, so it's subjective.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah,
quantum.
yeah,
You
true,
pick what
true,
you can
true.
pick. You can literally pick what you want, go with it, and it will become reality.
I think you probably got your numbers done by Joe.
Few people,
Nathan?
Joe included.
Yeah,
I think Joe came up with.
they did.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I
Well,
can't remember right now. I mean, it's been a while.
I've used a lot of different types. I've used the Chaldean alphabet and
Pythagoras and probably
not so much that one, but I've used Chaldean very extensively, and I find that to be the most accurate. You know, but it depends on the individual.
now you're in a year. You're in a 1 year right now.
That's right.
What you do is you take your month and your day, and then you add it to the current year,
Right.
and then you reduce that down to a single digit. You're in a 1 year right now.
hmm
Maybe that's what
And
you
it's
were
been a good year.
when you said that you were a 1. Yeah, you're in a 1 year this year. Yeah.
Mm.
Then it goes from 2 all the way through. I'm in a 9.
Yeah. Personally,
What are you at?
I don't even worry about it. I'm probably, let's see, 66.
What's your month and day?
My 1 year is going to be in about 3 years.
Okay.
Okay.
I know you're a Leo.
I'm
but I
with
can't-
Nathan. There's too many
Okay.
people listening.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Let's not blast that information on the internet, okay? Because we got the people in the chat, we got the people on YouTube, and then we got the quantum people, and then we got the extra
Gotcha.
earthy people, and they're all
We got
listening. And
AI.
well,
AI is all
yeah,
the thing
AI.
I'm scared of. You know?
Yeah, the AI is the
Those
worst
guys are
one. It's
creeps.
the AI,
AI
the rogue
can kiss my
humans,
ass.
and
Bastards.
the off-worlders and the quantum. I'm not so worried about. They kind of like
Oh.
my show, so far as I know. It's the rogue humans and the AI that I'm kind of worried
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
You
extra
are
dip.
muted, Shadow.
And the alphabet guys love your show too.
Yeah, they do.
Oh.
I'm surprised they
Oh.
haven't been leaving many comments.
I had a sighting of something. It had to be them. Had to be them because the window tint was so illegal. It was black as black. You could not see in this black SUV. It was so blacked out. Even the front of it. It was a three-way, and I went ahead and turned it. I'm looking back to see if I can see in the windshield. Can't even see in the windshield. I mean, those windows were black. Just that's not even legal.
No, it's not.
Mm-mm.
Cops
And I'm like,
Nowhere.
oh.
cars like that.
So then I
Scares
like
them to death.
driving home quickly. I'm sure I'm not being followed.
You know,
They
I
saw you
suddenly
here.
remembered something that happened to my
2
husband's
computers
uncle.
in 24 hours. Come on,
Yeah.
little weird.
Well,
Hi.
my uncle has since passed away, but he was telling Frank and I about a situation that he had on his property. Now, he lived out of town quite a ways, didn't have the light pollution. He could see the stars like he could reach out and touch them. And he told us, he goes, one night he was sitting looking at the stars, not a cloud in the sky. And suddenly they weren't there. They were covered up. There weren't any clouds. He knows that for sure. But he said, I looked up and watched this thing move over the area, and it was as big as our valley. How about that?
Oh.
Their stealthing is very good. And I just happened to remember that, and I thought it'd be interesting to tell you guys. But this has been back, let's see, he's been gone for about 3 years now. So it's about 5 years ahead of that. It's been about 8 years ago that he told us about that, because we had shared with him that we felt we had been taken, and he didn't doubt it one bit. So
Really?
there you go. It's something of a family thing with Frank as well, because there's been a couple of instances of these things.
By your command.
Like Cylon Base Star. Yeah, he is listening. I didn't know if he was or not, but apparently he is. Hi, Frank. How you doing? So, anyway,
Hey, Frank.
Toasters.
Toasters. Oh yeah.
It's been a couple of centons since I heard that word.
You know, Frank's a very intelligent person, and he was telling me one time, I asked him, I said, when did you begin to be interested in the otherworldly kind of things? And he told me, he goes, 3 years old, I saw Star Trek, and I was enthralled. 3. My God, I did real good to know where the bottle was at 3.
It was Star Wars for me at 3.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
3.
You were 3?
And it was
There's the
Star
moon
Wars
landing
for me.
The moon landing. I was like 2 years old, I think. And yeah,
Right?
watching it live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
big deal.
10. I was
too.
10, and I watched it, and I was totally cheesed because it interrupted my viewing of Lost in Space. Is that ridiculous? I don't think I could really wrap my head around it at the time. I have sense, of course, but my goodness, that's a
My grandma
lifetime ago
came
for
home with
me.
these little rub-on stickers that were of the spacemen and the moon and all this stuff. And I remember going around on everything in my room and doing the little rub-off stickers, these little things from
Yeah.
that.
Mhm. I remember those.
The space programs, the television programs, the Battlestar Galactica, that sort of thing. Of course, Richard Hatch has since passed away. I got to be on a show with him one time, and that was fun because we didn't talk about Battlestar Galactica at all. We talked about his. Hi, Edgar. Where's your pancakes? Beat ya. Anyway, but we got to talk with him about what he was working on Broadway and that sort of thing. And he stayed on our program for, I said, 2 or 3 hours, because we were the only ones asking him about what are you doing right now, not Battlestar Galactica. He was like, "Oh, thank God, somebody knows that I do other things,"
So do you and Frank watch Ancient Aliens?
I don't watch television.
Oh.
I don't. I stopped watching television when it became geared to 4-year-olds. And I'm very serious. The language that is used in television right now is not good educated language.
No, it isn't.
No,
I don't.
it's and I'm not talking about the profanity. I'm talking about words like eloquent, considerate, classy, those words. It stopped being that. She said, actually, I was just over a year when I started watching Trek with my mother. He knows most of the dialogue, I think. Anyway, but it it stopped being good television for me. I literally melted down one day. I saw Honey Boo Boo and what passed for her
Oh
mother
God, I know.
on
So
a
retarded.
on
Totally
a
retarded.
on
Yeah.
a commercial or something, maybe a trailer or something. I don't know what it was, but I flipped. I
Yeah.
carted an old color TV that we had purchased from a motel auction upstairs, parked that thing on the balcony, and kicked it off. It was a roundhouse kick, and yes, I did the form properly. And it flew off the balcony, hit the ground, and went into a million pieces. I'd
Mm.
have done better if I had looked to see where my landlady was at that moment. She watched. I did not hit her, not with any of it. And she looked up at me and she looked at the TV and she looked at me and she goes, "Having a rough day?" I said, "You have no idea." You know, she says, "Have you had your pills today?" Like anything I could do to help you, darling. Lovely Korean lady.
hmm
And I was like,
Oh, I
"Well, I
haven't watched
screwed."
TV either, but I watch Ancient Aliens on the. Well, I used to on the computer when I had one. But
Love that show.
I was just curious
Working on it.
if you if you yeah, I'm going to ship that out tomorrow, Nathan.
You know, it.
Um,
I worry about stuff that's on television for one reason. I worry about if I'm being indoctrinated or lied to further by what's being shown.
yeah, yeah,
60-40.
yeah, probably
The
60-40.
40
Yeah,
is not
I
in my
agree.
favor, I'm sure.
But
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it for me. It's part of why I stopped watching TV. Because I sat there, and had my nervous breakdown all alone. He said, "How many of these damn shows have the IQ of the borders on two figures?"
yeah, yeah,
And they don't. Most of them don't begin to have any thought process. But there's a lot of
Well,
witty banter.
yeah.
You were saying?
a huge percentage of the entire Earth's population has an IQ of what we would call, you know,
Infantile.
very, very low. Very, very low. The R
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like 70% of the Earth's population live in conditions where the IQ rate is about 70.
Well, and that's due to
Mhm.
nutrition.
Yeah.
Well,
Or, and
that's most.
among other things, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Poverty and
planned.
the rest of it. That's not really what I mean, though. If you're smart enough to have a television set, you probably ought to have an IQ to go along with along with the stuff that's going on it. That's how I've always thought of it.
Hence the low
And
numbers.
well, the worst of it is that most of those programs are geared towards teenagers and young 20s because they're the only
Yeah.
ones who have time, really have any time at all to seriously watch those programs.
Except the History Channel, that's geared towards older people who have a tendency to be hypochondriacs because every damn commercial is something from Big Pharma.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
exactly.
I can't stand the
Yeah.
commercials. I cannot
Well,
stand them.
that's a big part of it too. It's all you got to do is look at the side effects on those damn things.
Oh, I know. Meanwhile, they're
That
showing you
should,
another
that should put
couple
the
hand
fear
in
of God
hand
in
walking
you.
along the beach
Yeah,
on this
yeah, when the side
sunset.
effects are
It's
worse than
beautiful, and
the condition, I'm out.
And you're going to grow two heads, and they're not sure which end that's going to be. So, of
your
course,
eyeballs are gonna bleed and some other things, and
yeah, and that's being real.
yeah.
You know, and this comes from
Sudden
somebody
death
who
has
has to
occurred.
be on some pretty serious medication. You
Oh
know,
my God.
Mhm.
Some
some
of
of
that's
this.
ridiculous.
I
Yeah.
got one doctor yelling at me, "Oh, your blood sugar is up." And I said, "Idiot, did you read your damned side effects? It says on the medicine you prescribed me that there might be high glucose readings. Gee, you think?
Yeah.
How many steroids do you want to put me on before you're sure?" You know, she hates my guts. I know she does. And you know what? I don't care. You know,
My
I probably
Yeah,
doctor
they
is
don't
the
like to be
same
one
way
bothered.
person
because
out of 100 or maybe 500 who literally looks at what the hell I'm taking and
Yeah.
what's
And they
going to
don't.
Mhm.
happen.
They're not used to being challenged, Lynn, and they don't like it one bit. And that's
Oh,
partly why.
challenged?
Yeah, my
They don't.
doctor.
I haven't begun to challenge them.
My doctor and
I am
I
sure
agree
that.
on one thing.
I am
We
sure
should be
that.
eating beets.
Beets. Why beets?
Beets. That's the one thing. Beets. Just beets. Eat
Sugar beets.
beets. That's, yeah,
Why?
just eat
But they're
beets.
so heavily
That's
genetically
really good for
modified.
us. Right. I try to get the stuff that's farm raised locally. So I'm lucky
Yeah.
I'm living in an agricultural community.
Yeah. That's good. That's
I'm
What's
good.
the
lucky
big
that way.
deal
I'm lucky
about
that way.
beets?
But what's the deal with beets? Why are they so?
Beets are good. Beets help regulate blood sugar.
Oh, okay.
They're sweet, but they help regulate it in only the natural way that natural things can.
Okay.
Not
Cool.
GMO, not but they help regulate blood sugar. Not the or what is it? Extract. Because you can buy beet extract. I'm like, what is the point? Just buy
Little
beets. They're
powder
in the
pills.
grocery store.
So
Yeah,
Seeing
I
before.
mean,
it's just as simple to boil a beet and eat it. You
I like
know,
beets.
yeah,
I put them with
or
cottage
just
cheese and some salt, and oh yeah, that's a good lunch right
I put
there.
them on sandwiches, burritos. I mean, they're
Burritos.
actually pretty good when you do them right.
as long as you don't overdo it
Got
and
it.
start doing the red tinkle stuff, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
have. I mean,
I
I
ever
don't
say
eat
that
them
I really say
every
exactly what I
meal. Like,
think?
I don't have a jar of beets with me right now, you know.
No,
But I
and
got beets in the
I'm
fridge,
very
and I got.
serious. You can't go too far with them.
Oh.
What?
Uh-oh.
You got a cat going on there again, or what?
No, that was my foot. I forgot I had I got the charger plugged in, and my foot hit the cord here and knocked this.
You know,
thing.
Okay.
one of the wisdoms of the Bible says all things in moderation.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But their moderate was a little bit different than ours is. We've grown up in the
Yeah.
fast food era. I grew up in it, and everything was instant. I learned to cook when I was in my well, I started when I was 6 and continued from there. But you know, learning to cook full meals and get them all on at the same time, you know, the whole rhythm. That's an art, and it's getting lost.
I was a
Where
kid
it's
raised on fast food, so
Mhm.
yeah,
I got to
you-
observe grandma doing it occasionally. But
Yeah.
yeah, my mom
Yeah.
did cook. No.
my
Yeah.
mother couldn't cook. She would burn a pot of water. I'm not kidding. Well, there was too many other things going on in her life for her to be bothered with it. But I learned early on that I truly enjoy it, and you
Mhm.
know,
Little
Um,
kitchen witchery going on there, Lynette?
I'm sorry.
Little kitchen witchery going on there, perhaps?
Did I say that?
No.
Actually, I didn't really realize it. I was had those tendencies till a little bit later, but I learned to cook at that age. And when I say cook, I mean learned how to prepare a sandwich, learn how to put a pot of soup on, chili,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. Just ABC
Mhm.
stuff. And my mother would murder it. Honest to God, it was just awful. And it was out of self
Preservation, huh?
preservation. It was, and when I was a little girl, a little kid, there wasn't go to McDonald's. What the hell was McDonald's?
Oh,
That we didn't have any of that. The closest thing to it was about 25 miles away, and it was the A&W root beer stand.
Oh
That
man,
was
we were just
it.
talking
Mm.
about
That
that
was the
earlier.
way to go. Oh my
yeah.
God, that was the way to go. Must have pulled that out of
Right
your
back to
thought.
food. Yep.
Did you have a burger chef? It was before
Yeah,
You know
McDonald's was
what?
Burger Chef.
Honestly, in times coming up, and it's going to happen fast, folks. You need to learn how to put together a quick soup, uh, perhaps a simple batter bread. Um, learn to
just not
drink and
Mhm.
hardtack.
like water. Uh, learn how to brew a pot of coffee over an open fire, because if you have anything at all, you're gonna have to cook that yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not there's going to get dark for a while here, I think. And when I say that, I'm not talking about a catastrophe. I'm simply saying you cannot afford to eat out. It's that bad.
Sorry, Nathan. That was my dog howling at the sirens.
Mine's crying about it
I
too.
didn't know what was going on. I'm
Yeah,
like, what?
that's his best trick. That's his best trick. Howling at the fire engines. It's the cutest
when we,
freaking thing.
when we get to a place where things the cupboard is bare, we better have put away a little something for later. And I'm not talking about money. I'm
Yeah.
talking
That's why I
No.
do the
about
prepping
You
shows,
can't eat
guys.
money.
a little bit,
Ow.
a little. It doesn't have to be the
No.
full score. Oh hell, hi, hey howdy! I've got a whole
$10
fruit
a week.
cellar
10
full.
bucks a week. 10
10
bucks a
bucks
week.
a week. Yeah,
That's all it takes.
dry
That's
beans,
why I do the
salt.
prepping shows, guys.
Yeah, dry beans, salt,
Rice.
Hmm.
rice. Something to make your beans and rice into a plant protein somehow.
Hmm.
You know, cheese is a favorite, but don't hope that Velveeta will do the job, because Velveeta has a time bomb in it.
What?
Yeah, I don't.
It
I
will
don't
not
use
keep.
Velveeta.
It will not keep. As
Mm.
well as it is wrapped and the rest of it,
Really?
it will not keep.
Mm.
Uh, and then it is something about how the chemistry is done now.
Hmm.
But you can if you're of a mind to, you can Velveeta, you can cream cheese, make your own version of it.
Yeah,
Processed
the
cheese
shelf
is just
stable.
processed.
You can
Yeah,
shelf stabilize stuff.
you can it.
Okay.
I've read
And
about
I'm
that. I've
talking
seen
about
videos
glass
and stuff
water.
about it.
Yeah, glass jars, mason
I didn't
jars.
know that about Velveeta.
Yeah,
Damn.
don't hope that will keep for you, because it will not. Um, simple canned goods, but try to buy them with the ring cap. And I say that most people say the flat cap. If your can opener breaks, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do it the hard way, and the hard way ain't fun.
There is a way I heard about what you do when you don't have a can opener. You take the
Mhm.
can, say this is a can, right? And you go
Right.
up against cement or concrete, and on the top. Now, this is a survival situation. This is not.
Right.
You don't want to do
Don't
this
go
all the
down the
time.
police station and use their wall, okay?
Okay.
No, you want to
That
take your
that thing we were
can,
talking about earlier with the lunatic asylum is real. You know?
right? Yeah, you take your can, you flip it up top, and then you scrape it, scrape it, scrape it, scrape it, scrape it, and that will wear down the metal around the edge,
Right.
and then you
Okay.
can squeeze it, and the center will become detached, and you can just lift it out or take off, and then you can
One of
open the
the
can. You
one of
don't
the
want to do that
easiest
all the time.
no.
Hmm?
One of the easiest
Hammer
things that a
screwdriver will work,
person yes.
but I prefer to have a John Wayne can opener on every one of my keychains.
Yeah. I was gonna go there.
P
What's
thirty
the
One
eight.
of
John
the
Wayne can
Yep.
opener?
one
25
of the
cents and you're
easiest
good to go.
things in the world to lay your hands on is a GI can opener.
Yep,
What's it?
And
P38.
What's that look like?
to,
Huh?
it's about this
I'll find it.
little, and it literally fits into your can slot, and you open it up in the old-fashioned way,
Okay.
and just tear the top off.
Okay.
Now, I've
Okay.
acquired can openers that literally take the lid off, and you can replace the lid and put it into some sort of cool storage. You can do that, but
hmm
in extreme situation, you may
Oh,
not
okay.
have that.
I've
A
seen one of
simple,
those.
a simple. We call
Okay.
them keys at home here. They're a
All right.
can
Thank
key.
you.
They're one of the simplest things to have, and every single person in this country ought to have one on the key ring, including kids, just on GPs. They come in handy for
Any of the
other
Swiss Army Nazis
situations.
got one too.
Yeah,
And, you know, you might not recognize it, but it's the same thing as the bottle opener. It's got that little round blade on it on the
yeah.
bottle
You
opener.
could use those literally to lift a lid up. The old-fashioned
coming.
bottle opener. Uh,
Uh-huh. Okay.
call them a can key too, but the old Pepsi bottle openers, remember those
Yeah.
Coke bottle openers? Those things will open a can too.
Okay.
So,
Hmm.
just having that stupid little nothing can save your life.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're too weak. You're too weak to get a can open, and it can go that bad. And you come across the right food, now you can't get into the damn thing. Oh, wait a minute. I have one in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, yeah.
Multi-tool is in all the go bags here.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
I
got
don't
a
know
this
how
is
the
a
hospital
luxury
feel about
item.
me having it, but I think every person ought to have a go bag. You know,
that one goes.
I live in a relatively simple community that doesn't have catastrophe really, but we are 50 miles away from El Paso.
Hmm.
Do with that information as you will.
Yeah.
There really is no way out of here. It doesn't matter what happens.
Yeah.
So,
It's
with that thought, I've thought, well, okay, fine. We're going to prepare for a bug in.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't see any point in leaving. Not under
Well,
the
I mean,
circumstances
I'm
we're
going to get out of
facing.
California, but I'm going to go to Texas. But yeah, once I'm there, I'm there.
Yeah, and I get
I'm in a
that.
good place. Tennessee is a good
you are.
place.
I
I'm
don't
not in
think
a good place.
if they decide to do their thing, and they might, I suppose. I'm not going to call it into existence. but
Right.
running away from it's not going to really help. There's nowhere to
Mhm.
go. So,
No. Well.
And if they, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
But
Well,
in any case,
y'all.
all the, yeah.
No. Just go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh, I lost my thought process about 2 seconds ago.
Oh, sorry. Well, anyway, I was going to say we have gone all over the place tonight, and it's been good. We went from aliens to conspiracy to can openers. Awesome. And this has been a good show.
That's the basics.
Dare I say, the best show since the last show.
The last show.
I'm never going to stop saying that. Never going to stop
Better
saying
not.
that.
Right.
Yeah, and but I'm going to go ahead and call it a night for the live show. Don't hang up.
Okay.
Sorry, public viewing audience. We got an app show we always do, and yeah, it's been a great show, guys. We started out with all kinds of stuff from the first hour, and we brought it over here, and it's been great. So it has, yeah, it's been a good show. I'm very happy with it.
We can't
And I'm
have
sorry,
a show
I was
without the listeners. So we want to tell everybody in
Right.
the chat room that, boy, we sure appreciate you coming down.
Yeah. we do.
Yes, thank you
Indeed.
all for coming to the Quantum Show. If you're here, you're Quantum.
Quantum.
And with
Yeah.
that, I am going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks everybody for coming out, and talk to you all next time. Keep it quantum.
Keep it quantum.
Pushing buttons.
happy trails, folks.
Pushing all the buttons. Pushing buttons.